On this one particular YouTube channel, quite a time ago, I came out as someone who denies the existence of the New World Order, and I did so in quite a passionate way. I also denied total global economic collapse, which is something that I also believe in. But then again, there's also other questions about what I do and what I say on the internet, including my video blog, which is geared towards off-grid living, and essentially what is the rationale behind that, because it seems to touch onto ideas which are connected to the possibility of a global economic collapse. So some people out there are rather, I would say, questioning what I think and what my opinion is really on the subject of the way the world is heading. Well, I'll try and put it for you in a simple black and white way. I don't think you need to panic. I don't think you need to be too worried. I don't think we're going to have a global economic collapse. No. There's still a lot of bad things which are happening. The economy is still in a terrible situation. Yes. There will be more problems on the way. Yes. And I do believe that something which is geared towards demand side changes is probably the most important thing for the world and for people, which essentially means normal people starting to find ways of solving the problems themselves rather than necessarily relying upon energy corporations, rather than necessarily relying upon even supermarkets. Do a bit of home growing. That's good for you. And it also means it can provide you with some extra food stability and security on the way. No, total collapse, I don't think it's going to happen. No, I don't think that there is some kind of conspiracy to make the world collapse. Sure, Goldman Sachs is a bunch of evil bastards. We all know that, okay? But it's you can see there's something bad happening in the world, but if you assume that that thing which is happening in the world is happening just to hurt you, then you are a mad person. Okay? Just that's just fucking stupid. Okay? There are bad things that happen in the world. If there's a volcano, it doesn't mean to say that the Illuminati or the gods are conspiring against you. Alright, just as if there's economic problems, it doesn't mean to say that the Illuminati or the gods are conspiring against you. What it means is that there are economic problems. And the thing to do is to look at the way the world is and work out a good way of living. Right? And yes, there is, food insecurity issues which people will have. And so on and so forth, because that's the way the world is. This is one of the reasons why I'm so heavily in favor of promoting the idea of off-grid living and trying to teach more people how to do it. This is why I'm so in favor of alternative energy, growing your own stuff, and just that kind of basic stuff, you know what I mean? It's not a question of some orchestrated evil. Alright? Whenever I've, met people who claimed to know, so much about the global economic collapse, they would often give me a date. The last time I met someone who said this, I met this person face to face, it was actually last winter. And he said that by May, everything in paper would be gone. Right? The whole stock market would have completely collapsed. Completely. And that's why you had to prepare and stock up on rice and lentils. Well, what you can do is you can take these people seriously and go into blind panic. Or you can look at some of the ideas which are present within that rather eccentric community and see whether some of those things could be useful for you as far as living a more enjoyable or efficient life. There are some ideas from those communities which are geared towards better household management, energy efficiency, or other, fun and useful things. So that's what I look into, alright? I've made some excellent meals as a result of looking into these communities, okay? Including using my dehydrator to make some excellent biscuits. Seriously, excellent biscuits, which were gluten-free, sugar-free, yeast-free, and dairy-free. Okay, they weren't totally sugar-free because they contained fruit, and it was the fruit gooiness which helped to bind it all together, but the result was amazing. But I wouldn't have discovered that if I hadn't actually looked into all these various communities. Okay? Which is why there's all kinds of fun stuff out there. Right? And it's important to look into these things. But it's not important to say it's the Illuminati, or the whole world is going to end by next Tuesday, or next May, or whenever. Yeah, the quantitative easing thing is terrifying. Sure. The value of currency is terrifying. The environmental problems are terrifying. But they're not going to completely destroy everybody's life. But if you can use your fear as a means of bringing yourself to greater sustainability, if you're buying yourself a couple of packs of, solar panels or learning how to make some, then that's good, because that's the kind of solution the world actually needs. But if you're just going to use the fear and the panic to spread more fear and panic, then you're a fucking waste of space, time, and energy. Alright? Because that won't always help people. What will help people is being able to learn skills which they can use to have a better life, just for want of a better phrase. Alright? We can't go back to the success that we used to have when, oil was flowing and energy was cheap and all that kind of stuff. We can't. We got the economic realities of the world. It was rather weird because I keep myself nice and warm because I was wearing, yesterday, I was wearing thermal underwear to keep myself nice and warm. And I then go out in the evening to a church meeting, and a church is typically a very cold building, but they just had I think it was the brownies earlier on that same day. They'd had the heating on for them. And so I went into this church, which I assumed would be freezing cold, and I was scorching. So essentially, this was one day when a church was many degrees warmer than my house, because I don't keep this place warm. I don't need to keep this place warm, because I look after the flow of energy. I have a bit of a burst of heating in the morning, either through bioethanol fire or through turning the radiators on for about 20 or 30 minutes. And then that's basically all I need. Now, it's going to get worse when we hit December, January, and February, of course. Alright, and that's going to be another challenge. But I look after what I've got because I've learned how to and to be comfortable in it. You see what I'm saying? Anyway. I've rambled along enough. I think it's a question of how you use your fear and what you use your fear for, and what new directions it makes you want to research, which is important. There is still no new world order. There won't be, in my humble opinion, a total economic collapse. More recessions, yes. Different types of recessions, yes. More need to regulate the financial services industry, definitely. But, remember to breathe. Just remember to breathe.